Right, it's Friday. You know, it's our last show of the week, and it's pretty cool that we get to talk about Red Sox and Yankees on our Friday show of Red Sox Now. It's all presented by FanArch. I'm Mike Antonellis. Make sure to subscribe to the channel as we inch closer to 1,800. I guess someone said if you like each show episode, it helps the algorithm. I didn't know that the liking helps. I didn't know that. Speaking of liking, I made an impulse buy a couple of months ago, and I wore this. It's not baseball. It's the 19. I had this shirt as a kid, the Dream Team, and I saw that on YouTube. YouTube does like impulse ads, and they work. And yeah, I bought it and I loved it. And so we go with the regular B. We go with the Dream Team. Maybe we'll do a whole T-shirt. We'll do a whole garb. I talked about the socks, different logo socks. So when we get to Halloween time, I'm pumped about that. But in all of the years of guarantees for a team to win, right? I know we have big point spreads in football and college. I can't think of a time where I was not an ounce of me was worried about the Dream Team winning until I saw the documentary about the Dream Team and how awful they played together in private practices that no one saw. How they could barely play together, and so it's cool. But yeah, I had this T-shirt. It was in white, and it was my impulse buy. So, all right, let's get to Red Sox and Yankees. Make sure to follow me, by the way, on social media. I will accept. Some of you got to me on Facebook. You found me. That's fine. Isn't this what it's all about, right? Big series. I think, and as you look at the sidebar now, we can say that. I don't like saying it before because we can go back, and I'll do this in a minute. And all the woulda, shoulda, coulda, and all that. But none of that matters. It's now. Now this is a big series. 15 games left. Things have gotten tight. The Yankees have won 13 of 20 since you swept them. No, the Red Sox have won 13 of 20. The Yankees have won 12 of 17. And despite all the issues that every team has gone through, the Dodgers are going through a lot right now. They have won 4 in a row. The Mets have lost 6 in a row. All of a sudden, Cincinnati and the Giants are right on their heels. I did not see that coming. Well, Cincinnati, but the Giants are, and they lost their last game. But the Mets have been a huge disappointment. Again, money, the owners look at this. They spent all that money, and they're 5 games worse than the Red Sox, spending about, $150 more million. They've lost 6 in a row. So now we're getting to the nitty-gritty. But what I have said many times, and I love Hollywood, and for some of you that do know me, and for those that are new, I've done some background acting. I even took an acting class a couple years ago. I'm not acting right now. Hollywood could not write a better script than this. It's the final 15 games of the year. The Red Sox last played the Yankees in New York, swept them. You have all of these storylines jockeying for not only the top wild card spot, but conceivably, they want to win the division, right? They're still thinking that. And I mean, they are, but it's not, I don't think it's to the point where fans are. You got to get through these games, too. You know what I mean? Like, for fans, yeah, their goal is the ultimate. We got to win it or it's bust. But they're just trying to get in. Because the system is hard because you got teams on your heels. Seattle's won 6 in a row. Texas has won 4 in a row. Now, I still don't, again, Texas is 4 back of you. That's still a lot. And they're 4.5 back of the Yankees. After each game here, it gets harder and harder. And like we said yesterday, Texas would have to go 13-2, I believe. If you go 9-6, yes, they'd have to go 13-2. And 9-6 would be great. That'd be the magic number of 90, which we talked about months ago. 90 wins. But again, just to focus on this, it's incredible that it worked out this way. Like for theater, for TV, Apple Plus has the game tonight. ESPN has the game Sunday. I know it stresses a lot of you out, but for me, I'm not like that. A lot of my fandom irrational behavior at times is removed from working in baseball for 30 years. It just happens. I'm able to sit back and go, wow, this is pretty damn cool. On September 12th, last year you had 81 wins. Your season was over pretty much, early August? You kind of knew. But now you're playing games that matter against your rival at Fenway over a weekend where you have your three all set up. And they do too. Giolito and Heel, Bayo and Fried, Crochet and Warren. If you're a Yankee fan, if this was a Yankee show, and even though it's not, that's pretty good that they can match you with. I get the history. None of that matters. None of it matters. The 3-game sweep there doesn't factor into it. When I hear people say that, well, we have the season. That's great. But tell me how that factors tonight when the ball comes out of Giolito's hand. And I know that comes off as sarcastic, but I don't like things like that because it doesn't factor into the game. When a guy's in the batter's box, the 8-2 record does not factor. The Yankees are not going in there going, oh no, we've not beaten them. They don't act like that. None of it matters. Once you tee off, and we've seen it in the playoffs, right? We saw it many years where the Red Sox struggled against Tampa Bay in the regular season. The playoffs was different. But none of the previous stuff factors to tonight. You have to execute. Giolito doesn't execute. Doesn't matter what their record is. You have to execute. And this is set up to be unbelievable. And you got 6 straight at home. This is a huge stretch. Think about it like this. You go 4-2. Texas goes 4-2. Now, possibility they go 4-2. They are now a division in Houston and Seattle. See, this is what's weird when teams are behind you in the way it's worked out. Houston and Seattle are tied. So even if Texas wins, Houston and Seattle could lose, and you might have a 4 or 5 game lead over them. So all of that can change. But here's the bottom line. Say it doesn't. Say Texas, say Houston, Seattle. Just hear me out for this. Say you go 4-2, and Texas goes 4-2. You have 9 games less with a 4-game lead. That's a lot. So winning series, having a winning homestand is number one. And it starts with a really hard challenge. I talked about this with the Yankees. I defended them early in the season when people were really killing them. And I posed this question on this show. And some of you had great responses on this. If the Red Sox lost their top 2 starters, now they've lost a lot, but not Crochet and Bayo, they would be horrible. I don't think they would have been able to withstand that. The Yankees losing Cole and Heel pretty much, until recently. It's remarkable where they are. If Detroit lost Skubal coming into this year, do you think they're 21 games over 500? No, because it affects everything else. Dodgers, good example. They lost a lot. Milwaukee, too. Top 2 starters with the kind of arms of Cole and Heel. Heel is to me, and when you look at the Yankees pitching, and I know we don't like to do this, Heel, Fried, Rodon, those are all, you could say, 1s and 2s. That's a pretty good, and Will Warren's been, up and down. But you think about them coming into the season with Cole, Heel, Fried, Rodon, and Warren. That's really good. That's a really good 5. And the fact that they've been able to weather just by losing Garrett Cole and putting themselves in a position to be a playoff team is I thought the Yankees would struggle a lot more. But they have done a good job. You got to give them credit. That's a hell of a season. And yes, one injury can change it. If the Red Sox win it next year without Crochet, I don't know. Even with all, But, back to the situation here. This is fun. Enjoy this. I know a lot of you get stressed out with every game and you're thinking about a lot of the previous, but try not to. Just because you have not won a World Series since 2018, that's not very long ago. Just have a little perspective of what some teams in this league have gone through for a lot longer. And I get it. The not being competitive. I think if the Red Sox after the World Series team didn't crumble so much, you'd be able to accept it more. But just remember, a lot of that to me has to do with changing philosophies all the time. They're on a better path. And one thing I like about Breslow is he's pretty damn aggressive, regardless of what you think, right? Whether you agree with him or not, he makes pretty tough. He's going to make the decisions. Whether the Priester deal we didn't like, but he sticks by a lot of things, and he's aggressive. The signing of Bregman, the trading of Devers, the handing out of money to Campbell and Crochet and Anthony, promoting really young guys. I like the aggressiveness, but this is awesome. This is fantastic. I am, as a fan, you really have to be able to enjoy this. And there going to be tough games? You might lose this series, and if you do, there's no shame in that. To be honest, you're facing a really good team with really good arms. Of course, on the Red Sox side, we're going to be saying, well, you can't, but just try to enjoy it. This is the Yankees to me are still a really good team that I still think people don't give enough credit to. I really see it. There's a lot more hate. The stuff with Aaron Judge is absolutely ridiculous that I see, that he's not a clutch player. I don't know how that started or if that's just people having fun, but it's probably the dumbest thing I've seen on social media. You wouldn't be, and when you say something like that, then that means you wouldn't take Judge. But he is a pitcher's nightmare. You game plan for him. Ask any Red Sox pitcher what they think of Aaron Judge. They don't want him in the lineup. Yankees are pretty good on the road. They're one of 2 teams in the American League, that are over 500 on the road. That's just remarkable. Them in Detroit. That's it. That is it. So I'm really looking forward to this weekend. Okay, so I know this will come up. I know it comes up. I get it. Can't worry about previous games. It's easy to go through the schedule and say, hey, if we had played better against Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and I know. But I can say, I can counter that, and I'm not trying to be contrarian. I wouldn't beat yourself up about doing that because it's baseball. Baseball is not like last night in the NFL game. I was 95% confident Green Bay was going to win that game. That's 2 good teams, 2 good quarterbacks, but I didn't think on a short week in Green Bay that Washington had any chance in that game. Right? I think NFL games can play out truer at times. The big spreads don't often lose. Maybe they don't cover. But I think we've taken that into baseball. Because I've said this before. I've never heard people talk about the schedule more than since the NFL became big. And I think we're doing that. I still don't think we understand. It doesn't matter what a team's record is if they have a good arm or if they have some good hitters. It's an incredibly advanced game. Now the Rockies are different. They have 40 wins, right? They're an outlier. You take them and the White Sox out, And yeah, on any given night, teams can give you fits. And we see it all over the league. The Dodgers went through a buzzsaw where they could not beat Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Two teams way under 500. It happens everywhere. So I know, because I know people do this. They go and they look and they say, geez, if we would have just split with Baltimore, we'd be 5 up. And then if we would have won more in Arizona, it'd be, yeah, I know. But you have to look at the games maybe you shouldn't have won. There's been a bunch of 1-0 wins. The Rafaela home run against the Angels that, was a home run only in Fenway. It happens. And you're going to have bad stretches. Overall, you've got to the point where you're 15 games over 500. You've improved dramatically in 1 year with a guy doing a job, Breslow, for the first time ever in his second year, with a ridiculous amount of injuries that you've been able to get through. I had a buddy last night text me and said, this is 2011 over again. I go, no, it's not. No, it's not. Why? I go, because that team was horrible. No, they weren't. They were the best team for 4 months. Absolutely. They started horrible, and they won 7 games in September. Why? Why did that happen? Because they did not have a good core of they had a good core. They did not have a strong organization at that point. Everybody they called on in 2011 got worse and worse and worse. And I have it right in front of me. They had a 5.84 ERA for the month. Andrew Miller, Daniel Bard, Dan Wheeler, remember him? All ERAs north of 10. Lackey's ERA was 9. Kyle Weiland, who they tried, ERA of 7. Remember Albers, ERA of 7. DuBrant, Michael Bowden, remember him? Beckett had a bad month. Lester had a bad month. Bedard, who they traded for, bad month. Tim Wakefield, bad month. Papelbon, Aceves, and Scott Atchison were the only pitchers that had a good month. They had no depth in 2011. That's why that happened. It wasn't an epic, like this fairy dust came down on September. It was because you had injuries and bad performances, and you could not figure it out. You didn't have the guys. You weren't a strong organization. That's where they're trying to go. Right? If you think about it, you draft more arms, you bring in more arms, you have to create. Depth is now a necessity. It's not a luxury. Where before it was like, oh, wow, look at that team. They got a lot of reinforcements. No, you have to. And the reason is because Kyle Harrison could be the 15th different pitcher to start a game for the Red Sox. And I'm telling you, in any other season, like I said yesterday, they are not a good team. This year they've been able to do that. I don't think, I know in a lot of previous years, they did not have 15 guys that could make starts. They didn't have that. I've been in the organization since 2005. I can tell you there were years we had nobody in AAA to get called up. They were signing guys off the streets. Now they have guys. I mean, you had basically 3 or 4 guys on reserve in AAA the last month. Early, Tolley, Harrison, even Fitz, who went up, Criswell, a bunch of guys, and then Uberstein. If there's a path to him, and he threw well last night, he was back on track. But 15 guys to make starts, and I believe that's, I think the right, Who would have thought? This is what I love about baseball, the unpredictability of it. And I know these guys are young, and I get it. But you could be going into next week with your 4 and 5 starters being early and Harrison. Now, I wouldn't freak out about that because in the playoffs, you're not going to need a fifth starter. And if you keep winning here, you don't have to worry about that last week. That's my goal, is to get to the point where you're in a good spot. But you can look at it two ways. They should have done more. Okay. But they were on the right path, and then all those guys got hurt. And Buehler, didn't perform. But that was someone think about that. If just Buehler had been a little better, just a little better, all of this is probably a different conversation. But you still get to this landing point of September 12th, where you're a playoff team right now. You're playing the Yankees in games that matter. And you have 3 solid starters, and it begins tonight. So enjoy it. It'll be fun. Let's get your comments from Thursday before we head out. At Riley Bree, look at this point in the season, assuming we don't implode, we'll be in the postseason. What slot sure is still TBD. But we are nonetheless. On any given day, we are as good as any other contending team out there. Looking forward to the postseason. Tolly is a beast. He's also a rookie, getting the bearings in the big show. But Tolly and Early are the real deal, and it will be pure gold for us moving forward. I really don't care how Tolly does the rest of the season. He's already exceeded expectations, and he'll be just fine. Absolutely. I mean, just take the human element of the fact the kid is in his first pro year involved in a pennant race. It's a lot. But they know him. They know he can handle it. And I think him being maybe a 2-inning guy going forward is probably going to be what they do. Thanks, Riley Bree, for that. At Carl Uberson 3777. Just imagine if the A's had spent money, how good they'd been the past couple of decades. It's insane. I know. The floor has got to be raised. I mean, I get both sides of this. But you can't have the Dodgers spending $347 and a team spending $60. I mean, that's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. At Ellen Shannon -XN5UT, Harrison looked great. He's your 4th starter. Early's your 5th. Hopefully, Sox either sweep Yankees or 2 of 3. Yanks getting spanked by Detroit. Their confidence will hopefully be as low as they head into Fenway. Go Sox. I don't think so. Their confidence won't be. These guys are, and then they won big last night. Judge hit 2 more home runs. I will tell you the thing about players from being around them. They don't care from what they are, and I don't mean that in a negative. They can turn the page. You have to. It's too much of your. A player can't be a fan the way fans are for every 162 games they play it like Game 7 of the World Series. You can't. You'd be mentally spent. Detroit, by the way, used an opener last night. They had an all bullpen game. Think about that. I don't think a lot of you look around the league and see what other teams do at times. I think you should, because it might make you feel better at times. But you're playing the New York Yankees in Yankee Stadium. You're still trying to get the best record, and you had to go to a bullpen game last night. That's the one thing about the Tigers, is their bullpen is not doing what it did earlier. But the Yankees beat them big last night. But this will only heighten their excitement on this. They will be pumped to be there and try to spoil those games. Apple Plus, Nesson, for some of you out of market, MLB TV, does not work. Apple, Nesson, and ESPN. I'm pretty sure, because I know this when I traveled with the Sea Dogs and I tried to watch the Red Sox. If it's on a national TV game, the MLB TV is blocked. But I don't know how many of you have Spectrum cable. If you do, I have Spectrum. Spectrum is fantastic because they're giving you now all these free streaming apps: ESPN, Hulu, HBO Max, Paramount Plus. They're all free now. They're all part of your package, but Apple's not. So I know it's annoying, if you don't have Apple. I believe you need the paid subscription to watch that game. I know they did it for free. I could be wrong on that. I don't even know. I should have checked that, but I don't know. All right, let's get out of here for the weekend. Can't wait to talk Monday. Hopefully, talking about 2 of 3. If not, maybe the Rangers will get swept. They play the Mets or the teams under them. But you want to play good baseball, and you got your 3 in this series with Giolito, Bayo, and Crochet. Should be a blast. Make sure to follow me on social media at The Radio Mike. I'll have updates, and subscribe to the page. Enjoy your Friday. Have a great day, and go Sox.